Folks, the amazing Brian Addison has actually brought to me a new book by Robert Kiyosaki, or at least it is a new book to me, called Second Chance. Brian, do me a favor. Let's introduce you to the audience again because you are a new weekly member. But then let's talk about this book, Second Chance. And really, what was the nugget that stood out to you?
Yeah. Thanks for having me back, Mike. Again, I'm Brian
The
Adams.
audience loves you, man. I don't know if you saw the comments, but they already have you as, a huge contributor every week. So thank you.
I appreciate the love and the support, guys. We're just here to serve, right? And so this is exciting for me every week. I look forward to it. And one of the things that I thought about this weekend, I was at the beach with my wife and listening to this ebook, Second Chance by Robert Kiyosaki. And in it, he talks about how to have a financial turnaround. I think it's a great book. Mike and I don't get anything from it. There's no affiliate, like just go get fed, right? But in it, he talks about having a financial turnaround and how you have a second chance if you adopt some of these practices that he dispels in the book. And so he talks about how he thinks that saying living below your means is like degrading to some degree. And so he believes that you should expand your means versus live below your means. I've been on both sides of that coin, as I'm sure you have, Mike. And as I heard what I said, we should talk through this because I think we probably have both ends of the spectrum that are tuning into the channel, right?
No, I totally agree. One of our guests, Anna Kelly, the original Weekly Millionaire. I think I've been with Anna about 4 years together, so she's got a great playlist. She talks about this a lot. This is a mindset thing, and one of the things I've admitted over the years is I know how to work. I know how to execute. I know how to ignore things, but I will admit that my mindset isn't always great. It just isn't. This idea of focusing on expanding your means versus, whack expenses and live below your means is very powerful, but also not where I'm comfortable. Right? People have heard me, read my story in one rental at a time. What did I do well? Well, first off, all the work and all of that without question. But I've admitted, Olivia and I got really diligent and we took our spending from 100% of take-home pay to 50. And all that excess went to buying the next deals and, managing and building what we've built.
Got it.
I never had the mindset until after I retired to expand your means. It was a foreign concept. So I love that there's a book. Robert Kiyosaki obviously changed my life with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I have not seen or read this book or listened, whatever the right answer is, to this one, but I will, because that is a critical mindset, right? Think about how to expand especially in today's day and age. It's never been easier to have a side hustle, right? To work 9 to 5 on your paying your bills and then work 5 to 9 on your legacy or whatever you want to call that. So the fact that you're bringing this is exactly why you're on the channel. So tell me what it meant to you.
So I'll start here and then I'll go back.
Sure.
For me, it was jarring initially, the idea behind expand your means instead of live below your means, because I've been on both ends of the spectrum, right? And I think that at a lot of times I made poor financial decisions, but attempted to out earn my way out of those.
Okay.
And what I figured out on the other side of it, you're never going to out earn behavior problems.
It's trying to get a 6-pack abs and you're eating ice cream and pizza every day. That's tough to do.
100%. And so for me, for that reason, it was jarring, right? Now, going back, when I started investing in real estate in 2006, started out with a $6,000 refund check, was essentially a de facto private investor in somebody's fix and flip. I was like, this is cool. Kept doing that. And then I figured out these people buying properties of stated income loans. I started doing the same my junior year in college. So I bought, a few rental properties, 2006 and 2007. And then I had this great idea to go build this new construction home for me and my family to move into when we graduated college. This is why mentorship is so important, right? And so
I'm guessing that wasn't a great idea.
Was not a great idea, man. We enjoyed the
not yet. Not
yet. And so went out and and this is why proximity is so important. In my peer group, I was seemingly doing better than everybody else. And so for this,
you were balling, man. You were
a little bit, right? A little bit. And so until I wasn't, but the thing is that I look at how painful my life was back then, kind of slaving to this lifestyle creep. Even though I did well when the market contracted, I bought over 20 rental properties from 2008 to 10. I was 24, 25 years old, but my lifestyle always followed that, and it always mirrored that. And I never got to feel the full benefit of it. Now fast forward some 16 years later, and I'm in a far better financial situation, but my lifestyle, my bills are probably comparable to what they were at 23, 24, and 25. So when I heard that, like, it's not about living below your means, it's about expanding your means. And while I get that, but if your lifestyle creep trails you expanding your means, it could be painful for you. I think there's something disciplined, the word that you use, about being able to pull back a little bit from the lifestyle, to ensure that you're making the best as you expand your means.
Yeah. Again, some of the dirty little secrets in the sales game, right? So I worked at enterprise software. I was a sales leader for the last 10 or 12 years. But here's one of the dirty little secrets. I used to love it, encourage it, when my sales reps would go lease a 740, a 750 BMW, the big Mercedes, the G wagons, whatever it is, whatever status symbol they could go lease. I'm like, yeah, go take the pictures, encourage them, because they were signing up for lease payments that I know they would have to bust their ass even harder.
For sure.
Right.
Sure.
So, one of the things that I take about this mindset, I'm sure it's in the book, is that's the wrong order. You don't go create liabilities that make you work harder to keep you just above broke, right? If you want the G-Wagon, which I think is a ridiculously expensive toy, but hey, if you want it, go get the positive cash flow first, and then off the cash flow, buy the toy.
For sure.
Most people buy the toy, then they bust their ass. If they get lucky, they keep the toy, but they're exhausted. If they're unlucky, they lose the toy.
For sure.
So I love that mindset, and Anna's brought that to me. This is important. So where do you take this? How do you, with your unique way to package thing, take that message from the ebook on the beach to your community, and thus my community now here on YouTube? How do you want them to feel it?
I think that I believe that you cannot contract your way to wealth. I don't think you're gonna cut back on Starbucks enough. I don't think you're gonna cut back on Netflix enough. Like, at some point, you do have to go out and expand your way to wealth. In doing so, though,
100%.
we have to be sensitive that our lifestyle does not expand as we're expanding our means. And I think that's the catch-22 that nobody really talks about, right? Because you have this idea that once you're making more money, that it gives you the affordability to do more things. And quite naturally, you just continue to do those things as your income increases. So I do think there's still some merit to still living below your means while expanding your means. And I think it's all a psychological play in the way in which you receive that message. To me, that doesn't sound degrading or any of those things.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, you can't the latte factors, they sometimes call it, I understand the math, $6 a day times every day times 8%. Drives me crazy. If you really want to change and get after this, house hacking, live for free. One of the millionaires on this channel, Brian, his mortgage payment, or I should say his cost of housing, is negative $2,800 a month.
Wow.
He's paid $2,800 to live where he lives.
You put 30 grand on the bottom line just for living. You
get paid to live where you are. You get to stack that cash.
Yeah.
No wonder he's retired now and he's stacking cash like he can't help himself.
For sure.
Go get after it. Right. So at the end of the day, I think this is really important. The other thing I will bring up on this is it's really funny. I call it momentum, but I'll give you a story. So Olivia and I, in one rental at a time, we buy our first rental home I think it was 2001. As most investors do, you get around a network. And there was about a dozen other Silicon Valley folks in my network that also bought rentals in Fresno, California, when Olivia and I did, thereabouts. Over the next 3 or 4 years, we all saw wild appreciation. We saw cash flow go up. All of them, except Olivia and I, balled out. Cash out refi, bought toys, cash out refi, this, that, the other. Then the Great Recession happened. they lost their properties. Olivia and I multiplied. So where you're talking about like for time, it's called momentum. So as your portfolio grows and as you start to see that trickle turn into a stream, just let it go a little bit longer because it becomes a raging river.
For sure.
And I could say that as somebody that got to the other side. It doesn't feel great, but if you start making $3,000 a month cash flow and you're letting it compound, but then at $3,000 you go buy a second home, you start back at zero.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Just keep it going.
And you're one problem away from hating your entire situation.
It's like that you did to yourself. You stopped the momentum, Brian, as you know, is so hard to get moving.
It is.
But once it gets moving, it will build unless you put something in front of it to stop it. And it could be a pebble. It could just be this little thing. Stops the momentum.
You cut out for a second, Mike. I'm not sure if that was my side or your side.
That's okay. I think we got a great place to wrap. I just want to ask you, where can people follow you?
Yes, sir. Brian Adamson Real Estate on YouTube and Brian Adamson Official on Instagram.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.